Hi, I'm Ryane Nickens. I am the founder of the Trayvon Center and a native Washingtonian who grew up in Ward 8 and now lives in Ward 7. So this morning we awakened once again to news of another family who's lost their loved one, and another family who now has to sit by the bedside of a loved one who has been gunned down just doing typical everyday things. These people were on their way to work. Uh, my family has had this phone call several times. We've had it in 1989 at 2 o'clock in the morning when they called to tell us that my uncle was murdered. We had it again in 1993 when my sister was murdered, my mom was shot, my brother was shot, and another sister. We had it again in 1996 when my brother was killed. When I was a junior in college, I was home on break from North Carolina Central University where I was pursuing a degree in communications. And right before I was set to leave to go back to North Carolina, my brother was shot, mistaken identity. And then we just had it recently when my 25-year-old cousin, who had worked a 40-hour week, just decided, like any 25-year-old, any millennial, they're going to go hang out with friends. And he was shot. We are thankful that he is still amongst us, but he's amongst us after 20 procedures and operations. 20 procedures and operations that has caused my cousin, the 25-year-old who was shot, and his mom, incredible, like almost $10,000-$20,000, and that is in addition to their Medicare, because they have health care insurance. But what if they didn't have health care insurance? What would happen? My cousin would be in debt for the rest of his life trying to pay off a bill that's like that he didn't have to have because of guns. Guns in a city where there's not one gun store that has some of the strictest gun laws, but we refuse to hold our neighbors in Virginia and Maryland accountable for the guns that cross over into our city and kill our neighbors and kill our family members and wound our family and neighbors, leaving them with Medicare costs that are just ridiculous. It's estimated that a person who's shot probably spends $500,000. It costs almost $500,000 to take care of one person who's wounded in this country. So council, from wards 1 through 7 and at large, you have a responsibility to fully fund those things that will work to heal our communities. You have a responsibility to us as tax-paying citizens to make sure that we are safe, that we hold our neighbors in Maryland and Virginia accountable for the guns that come into our city. So that means you need to trace those guns. You need to ask that those guns be traced, and when it goes back to the original owner, that they be held accountable for that murder, for those lives lost and those lives impacted by it. As a taxpaying citizen who knows what it feels like to get the phone call, to get the knock at the door, I beg of you to also, I know that Councilmember Grosso, you are doing amazing things when it comes to mental health and education. Let's go a step further and make sure that full implementation of your bill is funded and it goes directly to those communities that are impacted greatly, like the kids that I serve that attend Stanton Elementary School in Garfield, who were directly impacted by the murder of a 15-year-old who was chased down and gunned down at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and now they are having to suffer the effects of this. Let's do the work that you promised the people that you serve in all 8 wards and make DC the safest place on the planet if you are truly progressive in your policies. Let's get it done.